As always, chat is going to be disabled for the presentation portion of today's critical conversation. So if you think of something that you want to share or you have a question, please just jot it down on a piece of paper. Once the presentation is over, we will open chat and we would encourage you to either raise your hand emoji and we'll call on you, or you can put your question in chat and then I'll read them aloud for our panel of guests and PLC members to answer as is appropriate. So Phil, I am going to turn it over to you.
Great. Thanks so much, Beth, and thanks for moderating today. Great to see all of you. Thank you for taking some time on this very warm summer day. As Beth has noted, this is our last critical conversation of the summer, and I also want to remind you of the dates that are coming up for critical conversation. So let's run through a couple of introductory announcement slides first. And Beth, I don't know what is first on your list, so I'll take them as they come.
All right. Sharing is being complicated. There we go. All right.
So just because I know that all of you can't wait, these are all the dates for the critical conversations for the coming year. Again, they've traditionally been on Tuesday afternoons from 2 to 4. We're going to spend a lot of time this fall talking about a lot of very important topics for the institution going forward, everything from the Academic and Student Affairs Division to the Employee Experience Survey that you all completed. We're going to talk about the Community Vibrancy Framework as a next level for our DEI work. So a lot of great topics coming up. So please, we'll share these dates and make sure we get them out from the president's office so that you have them. And then we'll be filling topics in as we go. So it's always great to have you all with us and to have your questions. So excited that you could be part of this one as well. I think, Beth, next we probably have our open door days. So I want to thank again those of you who come and see me to bring ideas, suggestions, complaints, whatever may be on your mind. It's a great opportunity for me to touch base with a lot of you individually. And it's been very busy this summer. So really appreciate you coming in, spending some time, and giving me an opportunity to follow up on a number of items and ideas that you bring to me. So thanks. And all you have to do is just get a hold of Angela, and she'll be happy to make an appointment for you on an open door day. And if it's not convenient for you to get to a particular campus, then obviously you can see that we'll do that through Zoom as well. I think the next thing we want to talk about is the fact that it is going to be, this year is Middlesex's 55th anniversary. That's right, we missed our 50th because of COVID. And so we want to take a little time to celebrate. So 55 seems like as good a number as 50, and we're 5 years wiser than we would have been. So excited about all the things to come. So it seems like a little time to take a chance to really do our celebration. And along with that, we want to celebrate the fact that the college has been recognized as an Asian American, Native American, Pacific Islander serving institution. And we are, believe it or not, we'll be going into our 10th year of that work. And it's work we're incredibly proud of at the institution here in terms of our work with the community and our students, and the numbers that we've seen of our AAPI students, especially our Cambodian students that have been connected to the institution, is so important to us and so much a part of our identity. So I hope you'll save this date. We'll be sending out further information about how you can register. We will be doing this as a fundraiser to raise funds for emergency funds for all of our students, and we know that our students need that. Even with Free Community College, they oftentimes come with immediate sort of needs that we can help address. We want to expand that funding. We're going to be doing this at Sompameas, which is a beautiful Cambodian facility run by a Cambodian family that has been going for decades and is here in Lowell. And we are going to have our own Professor John Savage and his band, the Spittin' Vinnies, that will be providing entertainment for music and dance for that evening, along with some other cultural celebrations that we will have. But most importantly, we'll have a 5-course Cambodian meal that we'll all have together as a large and extended family. So please keep that October date and more information to come. Couple of pieces of good news, and I think I'll explain a little more as we finish off the day, but the presentation is so important for this. But first and foremost, with all of the things that are going on with the federal government, we are really relieved and excited to hear that we were one of the not as many community colleges across the country that were refunded for our TRIO programs, both our TRIO program for students that are coming to us with significant needs, and also for our students who are part of first generation coming to college, and our traditional program for TRIO. I want to congratulate both Joanne and Jen for all of their extraordinary work and the work of their teams. This was not an easy application process considering everything that's happening with the federal government. There are many community colleges across the country that lost their funding, but we are not one of them. And just want to give a shout out to the amazing outcomes and the amazing work that comes from those TRIO programs. And we're excited that those programs will continue, and we'll have more to say about that in the future. The other piece is that we've been advocating at the federal level, all the community college presidents and the American Association of Community Colleges and the Association for Community College Trustees to put on the federal legislative priorities something called Workforce Pell. And with this, what's happened with the Senate Appropriations Committee and the internal work that's happened, that we see that part of this new big, beautiful bill, the shining light in all of it is Workforce Pell. It's an opportunity to establish shorter term programs and have those shorter term programs with rigorous quality standards be eligible for Pell Grants. So currently programs have to be 16 weeks long and to be eligible for Pell Grants. There is a time factor in all of this, along with clock hours. This excludes a lot of community college workforce-oriented programs, which we do a number of those here, and you're going to see one shining example of that today. But those programs that really benefit our students and benefit local businesses in a way that wouldn't happen through a traditional associate's degree or certificate that we offer through the college. So without Pell Grant support, many of those students can't afford to participate in those programs. So when we say free community college, it has not been free community college for all. But Workforce Pell will change that. And the threshold for the Pell eligibility would be shortened to 150 clock hours, as well as proposed in the bipartisan Senate legislation for the Jobs Act and the Workforce Pell Act. So we're really excited that has happened. It will take a lot of planning for us to get prepared, but I'm excited to be able to introduce Judy Burke and her team today, who's going to tell you about an amazing project and how it started and where it landed, and show you some of the facilities that we've been able to engage in through some really supportive grants about automation and robotics and occupational skills training program. That's a very special program. We've had a number of cohorts that have been incredibly successful in this. This is a shining example of a shorter term program that would become in the future Pell eligible through the Workforce Pell Training Program. So I'm going to turn it over to Judy to introduce her team of presenters today. And then, as always, when we're done with the presentation, we will take questions from all of you. So Judy, I turn it over to you.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Phil. And Katie's going to be bringing up a PowerPoint for us. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. Just to give you a little expectation, we're going to talk for about 30 to 35 minutes and then have plenty of time for questions. I want to introduce our team. Katie Gentili, the Director of Corporate Education and Training. Chris Alguera, Professor and Chair of the Engineering Department. John Henshaw, our Technical and Curriculum Advisor. And Ohada Patterson, our Senior Career Counselor from Mass Hire in Lowell. This is a complicated program. We're going to take you through a lot of slides, but I think it's important. I'm going to kick it off by letting you know about the history of the program and the partnership. So next slide, Katie. How this precision automation and robotics started. Middlesex had been in a long-term relationship with Mass Life Sciences, Mount Wachusett, Mass Hire, and the Northeast Advanced Manufacturing Consortium, otherwise known as NAMC. We have, many, many years working with all of those entities. In the spring of 2022, Insulet, which is a medical device company out of Acton, approached the Mass Life Sciences and let them know that they had significant hiring needs. They were really struggling to get new workers. The Mass Life Sciences convened a group of government partners where Mount Wachusett and Middlesex were two of the folks attending. And then in July of 2022, a partnership proposal was submitted to Commonwealth Corporation for funding to implement the robotics program with the full support of Mass Life Sciences. Next slide. These are the program partners. So Mass Life Sciences, Middlesex, Mount Wachusett, Mass Higher, Greater Lowell, Commonwealth Corporation, and then a key participant is Insulet. Like I said, they're a company out of medical device company out of Acton. They make the Omnipods for folks that are struggling with diabetes. You see them sometimes, folks that have diabetes wear them on their arms. That's an Omnipod. Our students are manufacturing those pods. Next slide. So this is a timeline. So the good news is Mount Wachusett received a renew funding for the robotics program January 2023 as a lead provider, in Middlesex being a support in that. Also in January 2023, their Devon's campus lease was not renewed and they needed to brainstorm a new location. Middlesex, in our usual style, stepped right up, and we all got together and we were able to use, thanks to the great facilities department, the old RFID lab, for those of you that go that far back, over in the facilities building. And that was decided in February of 2023. And then from February to June, we worked with the STEM engineering faculty, with IT, with facilities, with PLC to stand the robotics program up. And then June 2023 to June 2024, MCC worked shoulder to shoulder with Mount Wachusett to train 3 cohorts. We recruited and enrolled 36 students. We offered program management service. We communicated with Mass Higher, Greater Lowell, and we attended weekly grant meetings. In the spring of 2024, Mass Life Sciences came to us and asked us to apply for a Pathmaker grant, which we gladly did. And it's been a great program ever since. So we've continued to work with Mount Wachusett. They've allowed us to utilize their equipment until we were able to purchase our own. Next slide. This is a list of, this isn't everybody, but this is a list of some of the partners that are in here. The team from Middlesex, and if I didn't mention before, I'm sorry, I mentioned Lisa Tuzlo. Lisa's on a well-deserved vacation, otherwise she would be speaking here today as well. But the rest of the gang, Mount Wachusett, you're going to hear from John Henshaw, Jean LeClaire and V from Mass Life Sciences are amazing people. Pete Gowak, you're going to see pictures of Pete and Tyler from Insulet, and then Mass Higher, Greater Lowell, Nancy Gagnon and Amy, and Ohana. No one's any better, believe me, they're awesome. And those are some of the roles and responsibilities. Next is, just a little bit talking about the partnerships and the relationships, just to give you some inkling into how this all, sort of happened so quickly. So Mass Life Sciences and Middlesex have had a relationship for a very long time. Our biotech lab on Middle Street was funded partially by a $3 million grant from Mass Life Sciences. The corporate education and training folks have been called in on many occasions to work with them and with the Mass Office of Business Development to try to recruit companies to come from other parts of the country to Massachusetts. The work with Mount Wachusett, obviously we have a great relationship with the other 14 community colleges, the corporate education arms, corporate and community education arms of those colleges. But we had an opportunity to work with John and Jen on a NAMC program and then a $4 million DOL program that they wrote and brought us in on at the Mount. So our relationship really was established then. And then we obviously work with Mass Higher. Middlesex has always had a person on the board of the workforce board. And right now I'm on the workforce board, I'm on the executive committee, but Middlesex has always had a connection to Mass Higher, Greater Lowell. And then just internally, I can't say enough about the relationships that we have with PLC, engineering, facilities, IT, purchasing, finance, resource development, and marketing. We're really very lucky here to work so well to be able to provide the infrastructure to be able to run this program. And just a special shout out to Frank Morandi, Betty DeGangi, and Eric Windling for their work in facilities to help us with this program, whether it was over at Building 11 or now over in Henderson Hall. Amazing effort on facilities part. Next slide. We have a lot of pictures for you. We were invited in March to participate in the New England Workforce Network Conference with some folks from Mass Life Sciences, from Mount Wachusett, from Pete Gowak is in the front there from Insulet. So some of the stakeholders. Next slide. Then this is another picture from one of our graduations, and a thank you to Marie Toupé from the Dean of STEM. Great collaboration there. John Henshaw, Katie Gentili, who you're going to hear from soon, Lisa, and V from Mass Life Sciences, just to put some faces with names. Next picture, I love this picture. This is of John and Jen, our two leads, technical curriculum leads and lead instructor. Jen is the lead instructor. John provides the technical and curriculum support. Both Jen and John stayed on after we became a lead agency, and thank goodness, and they're going to remain with us for the next 2 years. Jen's also going to provide the trainer support services that are needed for our MCC engineering faculty, and you'll hear more about that from Chris Algara. Next slide. Just a little note about our MCC engineering faculty. They've just been amazing to work with on this project, but we really got to know Chris and Angel with the Metallica grant. And from that grant, which was very successful, we were able to move right into Renew and now Pathmaker. Chris and Angel have done amazing work teaching for us, again, shoulder to shoulder, partners with us alongside Jen. So we're looking forward to Jen helping Chris and Angel come up to speed on the robotics equipment, and they're going to do a great job. Next slide. Now I'm going to introduce Katie Gentili, who is going to talk about, she's going to move this forward to the Pathmaker grant. Katie has done an amazing job. She put these slides together, but she's done way more than that. She's amazing, and her work at the Career Place in Woburn when we were the operator, and then at the Mass Hire Career Center of Greater Lowell. She comes to us with a wealth of information and knowledge. Amazing person to have on the team. So Katie's gonna take it from here. And thanks, Katie.
Thanks, Judy. That was a large buildup for me. I'm a little nervous now. I hope I'm better at speaking about it than sharing these slides. So let's jump off from right there. All right. So where I wanted to start out was Renew was finishing up. Matt, like Judy said, Mass Life Sciences came over to talk to us and said, hey, you're doing this great job with this partnership. We have this new funding coming out called Pathmaker, and we want you to apply for it. But a caveat was we didn't have robotics equipment, right? So we had to make sure we kept our strong relationship with Mount Wachusett because we needed their robotics equipment to teach the program until we could get our own. So great for us. We applied in March. We found out we got it. And starting in July of 2024, we got our first grant and we were able to serve 30 students. We continued to use the equipment. We found out the funding was released again. We applied again, working with the grants department and John and everybody else involved to help write it. And we got a second round of funding, and it starts now, but the first cohort will be this September, and we're going to serve 60 more students over 2 years. Alrighty. So I think that the reason I made this slide, so everybody kind of knew, we keep saying Pathmaker, but what is it? So basically what Mass Life Sciences did was they met with employers in the life sciences industry and said, what are your needs? And a lot of them were going to Mass Life Sciences. So they created the Pathmaker program. There's two. So for those of you right now, Middlesex has two Pathmaker programs. We have a biotech and we have the Pathmaker tech program, which is what I'm going to talk about today. So they designed it to serve underemployed or unemployed people. So for the purposes of the Pathmaker tech, you need to be underemployed or unemployed or low income. They're really targeting underrepresented communities, and they want people who have never worked in the life sciences to take this training to make them interested in working in the life sciences. So once you're brought in, then we can use the funding to create our own training, design our own curriculum. They let us buy equipment for teaching purposes, not net new equipment like the robots with this money, but things you need to train the students. We can use the funding to go out and meet new employers to hire our students. And another big bonus is we can do wraparound and support services. So I wanted to highlight that in the last round of funding, we could buy food for the students, but we also met with Jonathan Crockett, who were able to give gas cards and market basket cards to each graduate in the last program, which was huge because we had a lot of low income people in the last program. So shout out to the food bank and Jonathan for allowing us to make that happen. So then I'm going to explain to you what the MCC Pathmaker program is. So our program runs 3 times a year, and we were able to do it last year and 2 more years. The students up to 13, no more, ideally 10, 130 hours in the class, 30 hours online, and then they do OSHA 10. All of these portions of the program are mandatory. They're here every day, Monday through Thursday, all day long, and they are here for 8 weeks, sometimes 8.5, depending where the holidays fall. They get incentive stipends, and I want to talk a little bit about that because I think it's really important. So the way we designed it, not everybody does, we designed it that you have to finish 5 different benchmarks and complete them all with proof before you get the full stipend. So it's $1,100 per student. And at the end of the program, we make sure, did they complete the online curriculum? Did they meet the attendance rates? Were they there? Were they participating? Did they do OSHA? Did they attend the tour? And were they there to meet with the partner company? If we have all of those, we work back through Mass Hire. They cut the check so the student gets a stipend. And you know, $1,100 across 30 people takes a big chunk of the budget, but it is worth it. It really does help them come to class more and participate. Insulet comes out for our program specifically. They come out 3 times. They come out at the beginning, they come out at the end, and then the 3rd visit is actually at Insulet in Acton, where they say, hey, this is what you would be doing if you worked at Insulet and if you graduated the program. We are lucky enough that we have Jen Stevens as the lead instructor, who has so much talent and so much knowledge about this subject. We have 3 engineering faculty members who teach for us and 2 corporate ed instructors. Mass Hire Lowell, who's going to talk in a little bit. They vet our students, they meet our students, they test our students for English, math, language, reading. They reach out to me, they tell me where the students are at in the process. Then they come out during the training, then they meet with them after the training, and then they help them find jobs if they're not hired. Not everybody interviews with Insulet, and they don't have to interview or work at Insulet, but when I get to those outcomes, you're going to see why most of them want to work at Insulet. Just going to show a few pictures again. This is my happiness area. So let me just show you, if you're looking at this photo, the young man on the robotic arm on the left, that's Andrew. He was hired as a maintenance tech, and we were lucky enough to connect with his partner, and she's the recruiting agent for Medtronics in Bedford, who we are now working with to hopefully be able to recruit students to work at. And we added 10 hours of hand soldering for additional hands-on training that Nicoletta Cozy teaches, because Medtronic said they need soldering skills. So we were able to use the money to do that. And if you look at the quick picture on the right, all 5 of those students, 6 of those students, 5 are at Insulet, and the young man up the front in the flannel got a promotion due to the skills he learned through the Pathmaker program. I'll zip through these. This is Jen just being awesome and teaching the students before they touch the machinery. All right, partner roles, hugely important, big deal to me as well. Mass Life Sciences, without them, we would be shy $1.1 million to fund this program. And to be clear, that is not the machine, that's not the equipment money. $1.1 million is strictly to hire the teachers, to run the program, to provide the program management, to work with Mass Hire, to work with Insulet. What we do here in corporate ed for this program, all of the program management, we're there every week. The students just think we're a part of the program, as they should. We find the instructors, we hire the instructors, we work with the marketing team, do outreach and recruitment on social media to attract the students to the program. We collect a lot of data that's required back to Mass Life Sciences. We work with the grants department and financial management. Sherry Goldman, if you're in this meeting, you're a rock star. The amount of work you do for this grant is amazing, and I can't thank you enough. We work with Insulet. I think I text Peter Gowak, our contact, weekly. They have so many of our students over there, and they give us regular input on what we can improve, how great we're doing, and other things we need to talk about. Mass Hire, weekly. They're probably sick of me by now. It's like I never left. And the students, again, we're there every week. We're there every week. What they need, we're there. The other partners I cannot leave off, Insulet. So the Pathmaker grant, to get the grant, you have to have an employer that agrees to interview your students and hire your students at the end of the program. You couldn't have got the funding without it. And they have been a star employer for us. Again, they know at the end of this training, they're just loading up on their workforce to make more Omnipods because they cannot keep up with the production demand for this product. For Mass Hire Lowell, this is when I'm going to bring my friend and Pierre Ohana in, but I just want to tell you, the students start with Mass Hire and end with Mass Hire, and we give them everything in between. We teach them. We get them ready to enter the workforce, but at the end of the day, Mass Hire is doing their resumes. They're helping them interview. They help them get funded. They explain to them what the training would be. And most importantly, they hold all of the student records and share them with us as needed if the funder requests them. So right now, I would like to introduce my friend Ohana to speak a little bit on what her version of why this program's working from the Mass Hire point of view.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Katie, for you also made me nervous now with that warm welcome. This program we do consider our most successful program for our special programs here at the Career Center. Customers come in by submitting referrals through our website or maybe referred from MCC directly. And then they meet with our upscaling navigator who does the initial assessment. So collecting eligibility documents, ensuring that they're eligible for the program. And then they go through our testing here to make sure that they would be successful. Once that process is completed, then they get sent back to MCC. Again, that open communication between both of us has been so instrumental in making sure that this program works because, we share if we have reservations about a certain student or if certain students are going to do well. We bring up, if there's a special case that we want someone to look at more closely, and having that ability to go back and forth has been instrumental in making sure that the students that get sent to the training, are able to complete it and, obtain a job afterwards. Once the students complete training, that's when I step in as their career advisor. So I make a trip down to MCC for every cohort and get to meet with each student individually. At that point of the process, they haven't met with me, so it's nice for them to put, a face to the name because I'm emailing them, sending them information while they're in the training program. Another huge, benefit is that as students' needs arise, because I've talked to them, and if MCC is letting me know, maybe someone's not making it in or they're having issues, I'm able to contact them, immediately and try to resolve whatever the issue is that's going on. So that is definitely one of the reasons why this program, works out so well. Once the training is completed, we are writing resumes for everybody, making sure that those are ready for when they do interview with Insulet if they decide to take a position with them. But if they decide not to go that route, that's okay because that's when the Career Center steps in, and we're meeting with them, weekly check-ins about how their job search is going. Maybe if they need interview prep. Whatever other services that the Career Center can offer. One of the the main reason why this program is so successful is our communication with Middlesex Community College. Working with Katie, she says that she reaches out too much. I don't think that's the case. I think the more communication we have is the better. I love seeing her emails because I know I'm going to get all the updated information that I need on my end as well. And I'm always happy to provide her if she, needs me to call somebody. That's the first thing I do. And I know Nancy, who is not here, but also works on this program as well, can attest to that. And also having Insulet as a partner for this program is a huge deal. For a lot of the customers that end up taking this training, they've never done this kind of work before. So having a company that you can go out and see the kind of jobs that you would get and how this is a clear path to employment is a huge deal. And that I think both of those things have been instrumental in making this program what a huge success that it has been. That's all from me. So Katie, back to you.
Thanks, Ohana. All right, let me get my slide changing skills back. All right, so this is an awesome slide, if I might say so myself. So this is where we want to brag a little bit. So since the Renew grant came into play, we have enrolled 68 total students into this program over 2 years. 36 were through the Renew that Judy kind of went over at the beginning and explained all that. We moved on to Pathmaker and we enrolled 32 students. 31 of them completed, which a general goal for a grant, when you look at it, is usually you'd say 75 completion rate. We have 94 completion rate on this program because we really work hard to get them through it. 25 of those sat and got the certification through Tooling U, which again is a very, very high rate. So they were able to leave this program with a certificate that is also considered an industry recognized credential. So when you work through any career center in Massachusetts, most training programs need to have a credential attached to it. But the big brag is that 22 out of those 32 MCC students are currently working full-time at Insulet Corporation right now, fully benefited on a career path with above the national average and the state average for entry-level rates. They have 3 different positions. You can be a manufacturing associate, cell tech and operations, and a maintenance tech, with maintenance tech being the highest level they can go at for this program. We have had other people go in under quality because they came with experience, but those are the main 3 jobs that they get hired for. Couple more pitches, and then I'm going to turn it over to John Henshaw. So again, real quick, this is everybody over here. Leadership from Mass Life Sciences, leadership from Insulet, Mass Hire, MCC. Everybody's there. And on the right, our biggest cohort, there was 13 graduates. 10 of those students you see in front of you, all at Insulet. Here we go. I credit where credit's due. This is Pete Gowak standing with our student Caleb, who got promoted after he finished the program. Dave Clancy of engineering, who comes out to our program 4 times each cohort to sit in and observe the class and give feedback. And then their VP of manufacturing, U.S. manufacturing, Tyler Sissels, on the right. Last but not least, one other really good story is that these students here graduated from our last cohort. They're all at Insulet, but if you see the young man sitting down on the funny picture with Judy and I, he's an MCC student. He's an MCC engineering student, single father, goes every day to school and then goes second shift to Insulet and is still working toward his engineering degree. And Chris Algara knows him well, and he does all of that while raising a child on his own, and we're here to support him through all of it. I'm almost done. You're going to hear from somebody else soon, but where we're going. In addition to the $1.1 million for the programming, we applied for a second grant through Mass Life Sciences, and we were awarded $750,000, which has enabled us to take $550,000 of that money and buy brand new equipment. It's all located over in Henderson Hall now. And $200,000 of it went to the general contractor so he could build out rooms 107 to 110 in Henderson Hall. Go take a look if you're over there and you have some time. It's looking great. We're almost there. We're almost to the finish line, but we will be up and running for the first cohort of Pathmaker 2.0, fall of 2025, which again will have Chris Algara's team, with the guidance from Marie, our team, Mass Hire, Insulet, all starting together again in a brand new room with brand new equipment. And I'm going to let John Henshaw take it from here to explain how that's going to go.
Okay, thanks, Katie. Yeah, it's been a real privilege for me to work with Middlesex on this program. As Judy mentioned, I was working with Mount Wachusett Community College, retired from there, and now work part-time basis with Middlesex. And whilst at Mount Wachusett, we had gotten a big Department of Labor grant to purchase a bunch of robotics equipment. So we also were able to recruit an instructor. So we took both of those pieces to Middlesex, that being Jen Stevens, the instructor, and then all the equipment. And so we had a framework for what we needed to do to go forward. So pursuing the the equipment through the grant for the Mass Life Sciences equipment grant program. We have it's essentially like an automation cell is how Insulet would call it, where you have an automated process where you're assembling a valve assembly. And so it goes from station to station to station, doing all different functions that are controlled by programmable logic controllers. And there's sensors. And the version that we have now gotten is it's over 10 years since Mount Wachusett bought their stuff. And there's been a lot more improvements in the Internet of Things component. So communication, there'll be opportunities for instruction in IT related stuff as well. And not just, this core program that we have, which is a baseline entry level program. Now we have so much more resource. And so that'll be great for the engineering faculty to do their much more in-depth programming in the future. But it helps us with our workforce program to get people in the door. So students get hands-on training. They're actually programming these programmable logic controllers, which are like computers for manufacturing. And it uses, I mentioned this Industry 4.0, that's a standard terminology for the ability for machines to talk to each other. And so all those associated things like data analytics and manufacturing, those things can also be simulated in this process. So whenever we have employers come in, they love to see the equipment. They say, yeah, that's what we have. We have it in 100,000 square feet, but you got it right here in this classroom, and it's great exposure for the students as well. This assembly line thing that has an embedded robot is also, we pull it apart and individually work on the unit, so it helps with the capacity. The more equipment, the better. As everybody knows, the worst thing you have is idle hands. And if you have not enough equipment and too many students, then not everybody gets the equal access, because some people are willing to let everybody else do the work. Gen doesn't allow that. Everybody gets all their time. Everybody gets a chance to work with it. Not everybody's, obviously there's different levels for all students, but as you can hear from our results, it's been pretty successful so far. So we also have an e-learning platform. Now, Katie had mentioned this Tooling U. That's something by the Society of Manufacturing Engineers that we do with the curriculum, but also the curriculum that is associated with the equipment has e-learning as well. So students can get e-learning pre-labs so that when they come in, they'll have some exposure as to what they're going to be seeing that day, or can go back to review, etc. And hopefully, as we move forward, we'll be migrating more towards additional credentials. In an 8-week program, this is what we have, but if we build add-on programs, or working with Chris and his team in engineering to segue towards credit, there's a lot of opportunity here. And the classroom is beautiful. They did a wonderful job renovating the space. Jen is on cloud 9, because we've always used it either in like the facilities building, or even when we were in Mount Wachusett in the basement. Now there's this nice shiny new classroom. So it's very nice. We're set up for 18 students now. So hopefully this program that we run is 13, like Katie said, but that doesn't mean we can't do more. So the space has both the equipment in the back and then the workstations in the front. So I think we got some pictures of that. Yeah. So there's the desk space. We're in the process of getting the AV stuff set up, the projector screen and a TV. And then the next slide, I think, shows the robotic assembly line. And so that yellow thing in the back is a Fanuc robot. Fanuc is a maker of industrial grade robots. If you go to their U.S. facility, they have robots, that'll pick up whole cars. We just have their smallest one available. And engineering has got another robot that has just been delivered. That's a collaborative robot. So there's a lot of great opportunities here. We're really excited to go forward with this, and also to see what the college does going forward. So Katie, I'll either send it back to you, or is it going right to Chris? Okay, Chris.
All right. Thank you so much. Can you hear me?
Go for it. Go for it, Chris.
Chris, you need to unmute.
Okay, now can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry about that. Okay, so before I go into what's for us in the future, I wanted to give a big shout out to Katie, Lisa, and Judy Honestly, the amount of work that we have accomplished in the recent years has been phenomenal, and there's so much more that our collaboration has impacted the programs that you might not know. So when we met for the first time in 2022 for the Metallica grant, we just started. We got this grant. We're going to develop a program for students and whatnot, and people from from underrepresented communities, so we can help them out. And we developed that program and we executed that program. It was amazing. But that particular program led us to the redesign of the curriculum committee of the curriculum redesign of the CAD program. And that redesign led us to our EDA grant and also Learner. So that particular Metallica thing was a wake-up call for us to realize that I would say the need for us to bring industry closer to the school that can lead us to further partnerships. Now the CAD program is sending students to companies every semester. Even in the summer, we just sent somebody through one of our design for manufacturing classes, which by the way was also redesigned thanks to the Metallica initiative. So that's a big accomplishment for us. Our CAD program had a lot of hands-on experience, but through the Metallica, we also added an electronics and a hand soldering training for our students, and that's what's getting students jobs across the state. You know, we have partnership with BAE, with analog devices, and some very big companies to the point that we really need to get more students so we can actually give more to the companies, and we're getting known by that. Okay, so that's amazing. And that was through the partnership we got with the non-credit area. Through this, we were also able to get certified in JS Standard, me and my faculty. So now we're able to train the students for the JS Standard certification. We actually were able to certify one of our students and pay for that. And that was the student that Katie mentioned before. I had him as one of our LSAM scholars, and during the LSAM dinner with LSAM representative, he said that Middlesex had changed his life because he got help from so many sources. You know, now he works for Insulet and he got this training and he was an LSAM scholar. And when he explained what he had to go through to get to school, all of us, we were so proud of him. So it's I cannot say this enough, but this partnership has helped students in ways that you have no idea, through scholarships, through free trainings, through opportunities to grow and change their life. And we continue to do that. And every time I go to the Metallica team, because this is a nationwide initiative, I can, say that enough. So Katie and Judy has been talking a lot along with Josh about this new robotics training that is happening, but at the same time, the credit area is creating a robotics program. We were able, and when they were applying for this grant, we were also able, under Marie's leadership, we were able to secure our NSF ATE grant that led us to create the robotics program that hopefully, knock on wood, will be starting in fall 2026. So the great thing about this is that this brand new lab will help us also to teach in the credit area. We will be serving credit and non-credit at the same time, which means that that room will be very busy through the year, but will help us to, to develop these further programs for the students. Not only that, but as John said, this will serve robotics as of right now, but it will also serve not only as an example, but also as a usage for future programs that we're planning to create. One of the most recent ones, we're planning to create an HVAC program, hopefully very soon, microelectronics, and all these different initiative in engineering that we want to bring on. But it's very important to realize that non-credit and credit areas, they should be more connection between these two areas, because at the end of the day, it helps the students tremendously and it brings us together, which is the most important part. I don't feel like I have a small team now. I feel like I'm part of that team as well. So I'm very happy about that. So what we're planning moving forward, right? Our faculty, adjuncts and full timers are teaching right now for this initiative with the robotics, and they continue to do that. So Katie, Lisa, and Judy has been very accommodating when we are developing the schedule. So we make sure that professors are able to teach. They're not double booked, so they can have the time to teach credit and non-credit at the same time. So that requires a lot of communications in order for that to happen. We want to continue this partnership, and we're going to continue to find new venues for grant funding so we can continue this program to grow, credit and non-credit. So this will create new learning opportunities for our students in different levels, okay? Because this credit program will be also designed for students who are going to go into the workforce, but in the longer run, they will have to stay here for longer. And this non-credit area could be also an opportunity for them to get into our program. So that's another of the outcomes that we wanna have, and we wanna create also or have a stronger partnership with Insolet and other companies around the area. And there is a big chance to do that because, like I said, the more success we have, other colleges are listening to what we're doing. So it's a great example. I also want to say that this initiative also help us to go and training companies, because we first started this partnership when you guys used to send me to companies to teach, blueprint reading or things like that, and that's great as well because then the college is known for that. I would say, that before, I love teaching and everything, but having to work with you guys has been a wake-up call on how important workforce is. We created so many engineering programs that, of course, are helping students to transfer to UML, but there is a big, huge opportunity also for technical programs, and that's what we want to focus a lot. When we got the robotics program, and they were like, do we want to make a transfer program or we want a workforce intended program? And I was just like, workforce, and not only me, but the team as a whole. So this is very important because there is a huge need in manufacturing, engineering, and robotics, in Massachusetts, and not I don't want to compare us with other community colleges, but this wake up call doesn't go as smooth in other institutions. I'm part of a different initiative in the state, and I can see that. So that's the future moving forward. What else did I say? Did I cover everything? So let me just review my list. Okay, yeah. To finalize, thank you guys for getting us the robot. So they have that amazing lab, but also for us to certify students in the credit program, me and my faculty, we need to be certified as teacher instructors in these particular robots. And for that to happen, we needed to get a robot. And thanks to Katie, Marie, Phil, everyone, we came together as a team and we were able to acquire the robot, which I believe is right now in Henderson Hall. And that's amazing. And finally, so I can finish because I can extend until the end of the afternoon, through the Metallica initiative, we were able also to create the new labs that we have in Henderson Hall. If you go right now to Henderson Hall and you look at Henderson Hall 111, 112, and 116, you will be amazed. Now we have a dedicated laboratory for electronics and hand soldering. So our students get that experience right on. The first room that I mentioned, it's filled with 3D printers and amazing equipment, and I invite anyone who wants to come and walk by because it looks amazing. It looks really like a high-end laboratories. So these, along with the robotics, will be a huge positive things as we start the fall semester. Now I'm going to give it back to Judy. Hopefully I didn't talk too much.
No, Chris, are you kidding? You're perfect. Thank you for everything you said, Chris, and thank you for working so closely with the team. You said you feel like you are part of the team. You are absolutely part of the team, and a critical and valuable part of our team for sure. I want to thank Phil for encouraging us to go for that Metallica grant, because it really was Phil who wanted us to go for it, and we did. And a lot of great things came out of it. So all those little seedlings. This is the last slide is just a picture of an award ceremony that happened down at JVS in Boston. And it essentially, it was a quiet period. We couldn't announce these awards, and the over $1 million awarded to Middlesex. We couldn't brag about it until this event. And Dr. Taylor, who's the president and CEO of Mass Life Sciences, is there in the blue shirt. And Lauren Jones is next to him. And then Ashley Sobel, who was at the time, the interim secretary of economic development. It was a big deal. A number of nonprofits came together that had all been awarded the Pathmaker grants. So it was a big day for Middlesex, and very excited about that. I want to thank Katie, Chris, John, Ohana for being such great co-presenters today, and then we'll open it up for any questions that anybody might have.
Thank you all very much. I just want to highlight a couple of things that everyone that's been part of this has been very humble about. None of this has been easy. Collaboration takes a tremendous amount of work, and the idea about the future and Middlesex's future is about innovation and inclusion and impact. And there's no better example of this than this particular program. I mean, Insulet is an amazing facility. To see what they are doing in America, that their factory is not all that far away. Their manufacturing is not that far away either. But internationally, what they are doing for the disease of diabetes and what it's done for a number of children. When we talk about students wanting to be part of something that's bigger than themselves, a lot of times our students are very excited about being in healthcare or a number of areas. But when you see students that are engaged in something that allows them to really get manufacturing skills and also understand a biotech facility like a biomanufacturing facility like Insulet, it's an amazing set of skills. And those students can use those skills just about anywhere, whether they work with Insulet or not. So this is one of those mergers of a number of different programs that have allowed us to do something incredibly unique. And I think it's in many ways a national model. And I congratulate all of you for that innovation, that inclusion, and that impact. And I know there'll be many more cohorts to come. And I think that we'll turn this over to Beth and allow her to moderate any questions that any of you may have.
Thank you, Phil. Just a reminder for folks, if you could just check your Zoom name and make sure it's correct. I think there's some folks that shared links, because I do have some double people in the room, and I want to make sure I call on you correctly if you raise your hand. We have our first hand raised. Rob, go ahead.
Yes, this is really exciting. I'm glad I was able to send in today. So this is for Chris. And there's a sort of a quick question and then a slightly longer one. And the quick one is how this robotics curriculum and training that's going on relates to the precision machining. I think they're quite related, but I think they're like overlapping under the sort of advanced manufacturing umbrella. And then the next is thinking about the pathway from, like, will the non-credit training have a couple of courses that it will translate to credit, so that they, as they start their, if they decide to go on for credit certificates or credit degrees, and do you plan both the certificate and the credit? And then also, how would that then work into if they want to get into engineering? So just as an analogy, like in health, you have dental assisting, but those dental assisting courses don't count for dental hygiene. And those dental hygiene courses are not necessarily going to, be your prelude to being a dentist. So, students often come in terms of recruiting students, many of them want to go all the way. And so if they start down one path, they sort of stuck. When I talk to a lot of sort of students here, they feel like they're going to be stuck and not interested in the technician level jobs unless there's this upward path for both professional advancement and making more money.
All right. The first one, Rob, thank you for that question, because it's very interesting. When I was developing the curriculum for the robotics program, because we already presented this to curriculum just as a revision. So Angel and I and Marie, we wanted to leave those courses specifically so we can connect them for the future advanced manufacturing program that we have in the back of our heads. So that's in our to-do list, and that's one of the things that are coming. So what we wanted, we are going to create 6 new courses, and those courses will serve multiple programs, and advanced manufacturing will be one of them. Will that go into the precision machining? I think that particular program needs to be revised, so we can just make sure that the curriculum is up to date. But definitely, this is just a certificate. But if we go into an advanced manufacturing program as an associate degree, we will use that precision machining as a base to build that program. When to your second question about how this could transfer, from the non-credit area, the students will learn how to operate the robot, and that there is synergy between that and the credit program. So when we create that, we're going to give them credit as soon as they finish that. And we were thinking, I don't remember, Maria and I have had this conversation in the past, but I think it will be maybe 6 or 9 credits or maybe more. That's definitely something that we will be discussing as we present this to the curriculum committee right now in the fall. And the last question, right? That's a very interesting question and very important, because there is, we already have that case when it comes to CAD and engineering, right? So both of them very important programs, both of them very unique in a sense that, for example, in the CAD program, right, you have students going directly into the workforce, which means that they have a heavier load in courses that are directly related to the positions that companies are looking for. Whereas in engineering, you will have a heavier load in math. So, and why am I saying this to answer your question? Well, it's because when it comes to robotics engineering is one thing, and then robotics technician is another thing. So both of them require different skill set. So can they move from robotics technician into engineering? Definitely. There will be maybe a few courses that we can find, but it will not be as heavy in math as it is the engineering program. So if a student wants to go from that robotics technician into the engineering program, and it has happened already in the CAD program, they will have to go through all of the math and gen eds that they need to cover in order to do that. But definitely this is something doable that we have done in the past. And of course, me and my team, Angel and our new faculty will be trained enough to make that happen for the student. But yeah.
And can I just add to that, Chris and Rob, the precision machining program, that was born out of the work that we did with Nancy. And that work was really around machine technology, machining. And we had first partnered with Greater Lowell Technical High School and then Customs Group out of Woburn. Now it's under, this program's under Eloisa. I think that, there's a lot of overlap, there's some synergy, but as Chris said, that's, either that program has to be revamped or we keep that whole and then, have the robotics on the side, but they are different. So, and one was born out of Nancy and then this is born out of Winnow.
Good, great questions, Rob. Thank you.
All right. Again, the chat is now open if you want to put your messages in or if you'd like to raise your emoji hand.
Beth, while you're waiting, I wanted to add one other section to that, is that when the graduates are in the program, we really emphasize that they should take the jobs and also take classes at Middlesex. We bring them out the catalogs, we go over what they could and could not do at Middlesex. Because they're students, they're offered to go meet with advisors, and we bring all of that up during the program. So, and then when we do the graduations, whoever speaks, whether it be Judy or Phil, whoever, we emphasize Mass Reconnect, how they can work and do both. So having them go to the tech program, get a certificate, work, definitely is still a road to engineering or doing a credit program. And we really do emphasize that during the program. And then one other thing, since nobody raised their hand yet, come on, good questions. I was remiss and I did not shout out the purchasing department, who I've probably driven crazy for the last month. And I just wanted to make sure they know that if they're on here, because never built a room before. So I did a lot of things wrong at first, but they've led me in the right direction and we're all still friends. But all joking aside, it was a lot to learn and they guided me through it. So I just wanted to make sure I said that, because I don't think I did, because I was talking so much. So that's for me.
No, it's all good, Katie. And I just want to add to the fact that what Katie has talked about when we've gone to so many of these graduations for the cohorts and in the designing of this stackable credential that will occur over time and the investment that's been made by the state in this program, that a lot of these employers, Insulet included, will support once the student becomes an employee, they then get tuition remission from that company to be able to continue. So you have already built in additional options for free community college and beyond for those folks, because those employers are very interested in maintaining and sustaining those employees and providing opportunities for them to not only remain at the company, but for advancement as managers, et cetera, and the opportunity to go back to school. And so we're very cognizant of that. And as we build these programs, we know that has to be an important part of it. Once they complete a training program that's for free, it is a possibility this student could go on and get additional degrees, including an associate's degree, a bachelor's degree, and beyond, based on the employer's ability to commit to that individual. And so it's a win-win for everybody. I also want to do a shout out to Trustee Cheryl Howard, who's with us today. So thank you, Cheryl. Always appreciate you being part of these critical conversations. Other questions?
Bill, there is nothing coming through on the chat.
That's because this amazing team of presenters blew everybody away. That's why. So when we talk about this work, folks, we talk about the future of the college, right? The idea of all the investment we're making in the transformation of Henderson Hall. For our next capital project that I want to thank the science and engineering and all the folks that have been engaged in having a conversation about how Henderson becomes sort of the Polytechnic center of our Bedford campus, which is all part of our master facilities plan that we are actively engaged in. And so that's through the support of our Board of Trustees, but it's also through the support of the state in many, many ways. We could not have afforded to do as quickly as we have done to build this curriculum, to build this possibility, both in credit and non-credit. And as I said, not only is this a prime example of what could be a program that's would fit into the workforce Pell definition, that's designed for adults who need to come back to school to upskill, to be able to get that next great job. And I really want to say that we have enough friends at Insulet that if not only if you want to see Henderson Hall, but if you want an opportunity to see the amazing work that is done in that company, that is internationally helping us with the major issue of diabetes and providing from children to elderly folks the opportunity to have more freedom, which is really what those pods do. It's an opportunity for our students to be part of something that's incredibly meaningful in both manufacturing and robotics and biomedicine. So we're really proud of this partnership, and I am very proud of everyone that's been part of this presentation today. I want to say thank you. Any last questions or last thoughts before we go? Again, I want to thank you all very much for your time. Have a great afternoon. The start of the semester is coming quickly upon us. I know how busy all of you are and how hard you're working to get us ready for the fall. So thank you very much for being part of this presentation and this discussion today. And Judy, thanks to you and your team. And Beth, thank you so much for moderating. And everybody have a great afternoon.